her stories seemed to be about bites, scrapes, burns, and the like. After I repaired Eagle's burns, she started, Eagle was so thankful that he promised never to stalk another species weaker than himself again. But even as he said this, she continued, I watched his eyes glistening with hunger and defeat. Eagle, I said, look here at the dead snake ashes. From these, food plants will sprout. If you are patient, you will not have to compromise your hunger for the promise you have made. I was silent until the clear, cold river had pierced Eagle entirely. As I watched Eagle, then I was silent until the beads of moisture no longer retarded Eagle's plate of armor, his feather sheath, but soaked him entirely. Eagle saw himself clearly then. He and I were the same man, the two sides of a person at war. One who played the part of the scavenger, the other who had found splendor. Laine looked at Cuchulain and spoke the last lines. Eagle opened his eyes then, thinking his bad dreams would stop. I like it, but I don't really understand what it means, Cuchulain said. Then they talked all night. They talked until they were kids again. Are you asleep? Cuchulain asked after a pause. Yes, she said. Laine remembered parts of her dream. She was in a treehouse up high in the sky, and she kept being flung like a heavy rag to either side as Cuchulain debated between girls he wanted to lay with. She was sure their entire love nest was going to fall off and smash to the ground. The treehouse seemed more like a bird's nest that a giant had placed up high in a tree, with a strap of a cloth over it. Everybody's cheating these days, Laine said. You're smart, attractive, creative, and kind. I'm overqualified, she said. She tried to tell herself that the opposite of what she felt was happening. Her pain and suffering were just her initiation to having a lucky life. The feelings of depletion were actually abundance and joy. You are open to luck in all areas of your life. It is the extreme contrast at this time, the feelings of extreme poverty to extreme grace. Your voice is getting stronger. Well done. The way I see it, too many women use children as pawns to trap men, Cuchulain said. Then when the men leave, the women don't want the children. But I guess women have a lot to teach us. They just want us to listen to them. I think plenty of women find themselves in the wrong house because of money, but plenty of men find themselves with the wrong woman because of beauty, she said. It is thought that man is descended from the ape. Si pensa che l'uomo sia discende dalla scimmia. Studying the behavior of ancient primates left her feeling discouraged. In some ways, it didn't seem like they'd evolved much as a species. Don't treat women like dolls and men like wallets, Laine exclaimed. She read the summary. Like many of the comedies of Billy Wilder, Avanti, 1972, seemed to normalize marital infidelity. Is it true? Laine asked. Is what true? Cuchulain asked. Does wealth always change people? She said. She felt on the brink of success, like those who wondered what on earth she was doing might soon say she should have been doing it all along, but she couldn't let it change who she was. Would she lose her morals like the guy in the show? If I do become semi-well-known, which seems highly unlikely anyway, what if my values change? What if I'm no longer a good person? But at the same time, it wasn't the 60s anymore. Avanti meant going forward. And that's what she'd do. Wow, Cuchulain said, you are crazy. But he said it in a different tone. I see so much happiness in your soul. Vedo nella tua anima tanta felicità. In her dream that night, her grandparents were proud of her and they both gave her a hug. When her efforts felt the most futile, people were trying to make her forget her worth. Laine woke in Cuchulain's bed without sheets, wondering how she snuck in his room without any of the counselors seeing. She was at the shelter home for disadvantaged youth in her hometown of Hamilton, Montana, though she did not know why because she never lived at the shelter home herself. The cigarette was a blade of grass Cuchulain chewed on. He was sitting on a modern windowsill. Hai messo la sigaretta nell'astuccio. You put the cigarette in the pencil case? She asked. They were adolescents, kind of like in dreams, where one can be any age. Let me have a drag, she said, crawling out of bed and stretching her long arms. She didn't know how to smoke, but she pretended she did. Glancing outside, it seemed like summer and winter were fighting for custody. È la prima volta che mi brucio il pantalone con una sigaretta, she said. This is the first time I burnt my pants with a cigarette.